Good morning and welcome to Unity of Vancouver. Thank you for joining us if you're at home watching on Zoom, and welcome to everyone here who's with us this morning at the sanctuary. Let's start off the morning by singing. I'm joined by Bill Costin. My name's Beverly Elliott, and I think we're going to have some lyrics up here for you. Wake ourselves up. God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunshine. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. It's early. God, you are every season, every second of my life. More coffee. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, and everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. There you go. What did I miss? Oh, I don't know what I missed. Anyway, some more seasons and things like that. Anyway, thank you, God, for all of it. Okay, thank you. Our next one is Prayer for Sally. This is a song I wrote for my daughter, about 15 years ago, and if not more. And just a song about welcoming all the wonderful things you can do in summertime. And yeah, here it goes. Please join in. It's easy. May you lay down in green grass and count all the stars, sleep under the moonlight and travel to Mars. May you count all your blessings and bless what is true. May you carry love with you. May you breathe in the ocean and laugh in the rain, sail into the sunset and come home again. May you whisper your secrets to the one that you choose. May you carry love with you. Fly far, have faith in every dream, 'cause you are all that you can believe. May you listen for snowflakes that dance in the wind, walk through the wheat fields and know where you've been. May you learn from your sorrows, forgive when you lose. May you carry love with you. Fly faith in every dream, 'cause you are more than you can believe. May you always have sunshine after the rain. Stand on a mountain and sing out your name. May you honor and treasure a heart that is true. May you carry love with you. La la la, la la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. May you carry love with you. La la la, la la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. May you carry love with you. May you carry love with you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's stand up and we'll sing one more song together, God in Everything. We're going to see it, we're going to feel it, and then we're going to choose it. Okay. We might even dance. I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in everything I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose goodness surrounding me. I choose love in every breath I breathe. I choose God in everything. I choose happiness, I choose freedom. I choose the beauty that lives in me. I choose perfection in what life brings. I choose God in everything. I choose God in everything. I choose God in everything. Thank you.
Good morning on what a beautiful Sunday, and welcome. I'm your host, Shirley Thompson, and I welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center, Vancouver's home for progressive spiritual development and practice. And we warmly welcome all people, all faiths, and all lifestyles. And thank you for joining us this morning. You know, today's talk is about transcendence. Let's begin today by considering what Henry Russell, the great astronomer who discovered stars are made of hydrogen, had to say about transcendence. Just what future the designer of the universe has provided for our souls, I do not know, and I cannot prove. But I find the whole order of nature confirms my confidence that if it is not our noblest hopes and dreams, it will transcend them. In essence, this great scientist is saying our destiny is our dreams or something better. I'm pretty sure Charles Fillmore would agree. And spiritual teacher Debbie Ford eloquently brings transcendence into the now, saying, within ourselves, there are voices that provide us with all the answers we need to heal our deepest wounds, to transcend our limitations, to overcome our obstacles or challenges, and to see where our soul is longing to go. And finally, Buddy Ebsen, you remember him playing Jed on the Beverly Hillbillies, it turns out was also quite spiritually awake, for he said, remember that all of the elements that complete a human being, the most important, the most essential, the one that will sustain, transcend, overcome, and vanquish all obstacles is
every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by.
And now, with our opening intention, board member Janet Law.
Thank you. If we can just be in this moment. We are all gathered here today in the presence of the healing balm of pure light. From deep within, the silent space inside you, a voice is heard. Loving words echoing in your mind. I am without beginning or end. Like the universe itself, I am infinite. I am a part of a vast, unified wholeness. In the heart of summer, we devote this time to our feeling love as a spiritual power at the center of our being. Focusing attention now on our heart center, we unite in divine love as we pray together. I relax and breathe in the love of God. With every breath, my body responds by becoming peaceful. My nervous system relaxes, my body processes slow, and my mind stills. I am aware of God as peace in the heart of me. I am love, and in this moment, I recognize it. My body is energized by the healing spirit, the healing life of spirit, and this spirit of life is my life. I experience healing in every cell of my body now and in every dimension of my being. Vitality and wholeness are mine. And now, in a spirit of love, we remind our heart of the divine peace as the divine being of this universe. Deep peace of the running waters to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the smiling stars to you.
26 years. Carrie is the spiritual director of the Center for Spiritual Living in Victoria, where she has served as senior minister for the past 8 years. Carrie is one of us. She spent many years in business and all that entails. Her careers prior to ministry include journalism, television, writer, producer, consultant to the United Nations and the Vatican. And she is the founder of the Banff World Media Festival, which she managed for 17 years. Today, ministry and spiritual teachings are her passions. Please join me in giving a warm unity welcome to Reverend Carrie Hunter.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's wonderful to see you here today. I always love being here because the energy of unity is so special. I had lunch with a dear friend yesterday, someone I don't get to see very often, and I said, I guess I'd better leave really, really early tomorrow because it's a long weekend and the traffic's going to be awful. And he said, oh no, everybody leaves Vancouver on long weekends. And I said, oh no. And so I really bless you for being here today and for taking the time on this long weekend to join in and to bring your own wonderful consciousness and energy into this place, because it does fill it. And it doesn't take any more than 2 people. We know that. And so we just let that multiply today. And I bless you all and thank you. And so right now I'd like to invite you to stand and sing the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer.
Holy Spirit, creator and life of all, you create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Our oneness now prevails. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. You give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. You untangle the knots of error that bind us as we also release others. We don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source. We're born free to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes the glorious harmony of life. Now these words are fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
And I invite you now to go into that sacred place, your heart of sacred hearts, as we go into our morning meditation. And just know with me that God overlights every word, and God as you in your heart accepts every word, accepts the truth of who you are, spirit having a human experience. And you allow this presence to fully fill your being. You are fully awakened to it. And just imagine that you're in your very favorite place on earth. The place where you feel most relaxed, most at ease, most in a state of grace. And in the center of your heart, notice that there is a small golden disk And that disc seems to light on fire. And the fire grows and expands with a beautiful, loving warmth in your heart center. And it continues to grow. And it goes up through your throat, your neck, your head. Your face is glowing with this light. The light is coming from every cell, from your eyes, from your eyelashes, the tip of your nose, your lips, your chin, your ears. And it flows through your shoulders and your arms and your fingers and your fingertips. And then down through your torso and through your buttocks and down through your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes. And all of a sudden your whole body is ablaze with this light that is the dazzling light of the divine. And it feels so amazing, so awesome for you, for everyone around you. And you allow that light to grow, filling this sanctuary, filling this building, filling this city, this province, this country, this continent, filling this earth, ablaze with light, awakening every heart, everywhere, to love. For some who have never felt that before, it is a strange but beautiful feeling, and they just sink into it and allow that presence to awaken and to hold on to it. And we feel ourselves in this place to be slowly rising upward without any kind of resistance at all, just rising up, 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 up to the edge of the earth and beyond. And we just float. We float through space. And we look back at this beautiful blue planet, our hearts opening wider and wider with love for all it represents, for all of the good that it represents. And we sit on the nearest cloud with such comfort and joy. It's a freedom unlike anything that we've ever experienced before. And we can see stars and the sun and the moon. It's this magical place where everything is evident. And a distant star seems to be moving, seems to be coming toward us. But as it gets closer, we realize that it's a spiritual being. And as she comes closer and closer and closer, we feel this amazing holy presence in an even stronger way. And she comes forward and embraces us. And the holy presence of God is more than we ever imagined it being. And then she stands back just a little and looks at us in our eyes, and she smiles. And then she reaches inside her garment and pulls out a beautiful harp. And she hands us this heart. And we hold it to our hearts, our own hearts, and she puts her hand upon our hands. And we just feel that heart going deeper and deeper and deeper, and the love expanding more and more. And then she hands us a beautiful basket, golden basket, and it is filled with these hearts. And she invites us to share them with everyone on the earth. And she smiles again. We smile at one another. We embrace. And she slowly, ever so slowly, begins to disappear, going back into that star shape that she seemed to be before. And so we lift a star out of the basket, and like a frisbee, we send it toward the earth, to someone somewhere. And then the next and the next and the next, and it's a basket that just continues to fill. It is never emptied until everyone on this planet has a heart that is filled with love, that is filled with the presence of God, that is transcending any limitations they've ever had, transcending any negativity, transcending any thoughts that have kept them from being the best they could be, any thoughts that have kept us from having a world of peace and love and joy and gratitude. And you just feel the gratitude for this special gift this day. And you slowly, slowly, slowly begin to descend back into that favorite place that you've always loved to be. And as you're sitting there, you gradually become aware of your breath, become aware of where you are, right here, right now, in this holy place. And as you do, you become aware of everything around you as you open your eyes and give thanks for this day and listen to this special music that Beverly has to offer today. And so it is.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me, where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lifts my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me. As me. And where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly, in and out and through me. As me. where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and live and move, where I sing, where I dance my dance, my dance, wherever I go, where I take and give and breathe and live. God is, joy is, love is, God is.
Thank you, Beverly. It's a lovely reminder that God is everywhere, in everyone, in everything. A couple of years ago, I lived in Oak Bay in Victoria, and I used to go over to the Oak Bay Beach Hotel, if you're familiar with it. They did have, well, they still have a wonderful solarium, but there are no seats there anymore. And I used to go over to work on my Sunday talk, because for me it was just a really special place, and I kind of liked to know that the world was going by around me as well, and you know, just to think about what it all meant to me. And I was remembering that one Sunday a few years ago, I was sitting there, and I had just bought Deepak Chopra's book, The Future of God, and I hadn't read it yet, so I took it with me, and I wasn't going to read it all that day, as you know, Deepak Chopra, one paragraph at a time. And so I put the book aside, and I was working on my laptop. And I became aware of a couple of elderly men who were sitting not too far from me, just across near the window. And it turned out, I overheard one saying that he was a Catholic priest, and the other one was an Episcopalian priest from the U.S., and they were both retired, and apparently they had been friends by telephone, but they'd never met in person before. Anyway, I went back to what I was doing. I just thought, well, it's interesting. This is really a holy place. And you know what it's like when you're in a restaurant or you're somewhere, and you're not aware of what anybody's talking about, and then all of a sudden, you know, a line comes through, and you think, oh, you know, it kind of wakes you up. And the line that got to me was, one of them said, it was the Catholic priest said to the other, you know, I don't believe in religion anymore. But he said, my faith has never been stronger. And the Episcopalian priest said, I'm exactly the same way. I have no use for religion anymore, but my faith has never been greater than it is right now. And I sat there with a smile on my face, and I thought, oh, they're one of us, and they don't even know it. And anyway, I went on with what I was doing, and they were there for quite some time, and then they got up to leave, vowing that they would get together once a month. And as they were passing my table, one of them looked down at the book and said, the future of God, no future for him. And I said, no, there isn't any future for him, but there's a great future for it. And they looked at me, and they said, it? And I took out my business cards and gave them each one. They never did show up at my center. But I was thinking, you know, they were still talking about a different God, perhaps the God that we grew up with if we went to Sunday school and in a traditional church. They weren't talking about the God that is everything, that is the intelligence that creates everything, according to our belief systems, according to race consciousness, you know, and I was thinking about that a lot, and thinking how grateful that I am that I found a center that transcended that old-time religion. And more people are leaving it, and it's sad, and I think they're leaving it, you know, because they can't believe in that God anymore. that judgmental God, the God that's going to punish them. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout. I'm telling you why, because you're going to really get into a lot of trouble if you do anything that God doesn't like. And that's not the God that we understand. That's not the God of our being. This is a whole different kind of faith. And Deepak Chopra wrote the book, The Future of God, as a rebuttal to Richard Dawkins, the amazing scientist who wrote a book called The God Illusion. And he said, we don't need God anymore. Science is everything. And he said we all need to just give up the notion of God. Well, Deepak was, I say Deepak, my good friend I call by the first name, Deepak Chopra said, the last thing that we can give up ever is our faith. He said that's the most important thing in our lives. And his book was about holding on to our faith, restoring it if we have lost it. And when we find people who are atheists, just express as the God that we are. We don't try to influence anybody to come and join us unless they're close friends. But what we do is we, by example, show them who we are, the kindness, the grace, the love, everything that we are. Now, Deepak Chopra goes on to say that, he would really like to be able to describe God. He said, what does God look like? And I thought, well, he should know that. I mean, God looks like every one of you. God looks like everyone everywhere because each one of us is an individualized expression of God. And he said that he struggles with it. He struggles to describe it. And I thought, well, to describe that power, we know that it is beyond words. When we start talking about what God is, we could go on and on and on and never quite get there. And every once in a while, I've had an experience that I call transcendent. And it happened to me again, not yesterday, but a week ago, Saturday. I was doing a wedding at the Colwood Golf Course in Colwood. And I always get there about an hour early just to be sure that I'm, everything's set up. And it was an outdoor wedding on a beautiful knoll. And this happened to me when I also recently did a celebration of life there, and exactly the same thing happened. These enormous trees, the trunks just huge, and these majestic trees all around. And as I walked onto this knoll, there were the big trunks of trees, and directly in front of me, perhaps 300 feet. I'm still in feet rather than about 300 feet from where I was standing. There was an enormous trunk with two huge trees growing out of that one trunk, and it was almost shaped like a heart. And the bride and groom were going to be standing in front of me with that in the background. And I stood there. These trees have such an energy. And all of a sudden, I just, was feeling this profound stillness. And way off in the distance, I could see golfers, but I couldn't hear a sound. I was in total silence. And I stood there, and every thought I had disappeared. And afterward, I thought, I felt nothing. I knew nothing. But I felt everything, and I knew everything. And it's happened to me only a couple of times before, and I've thought that is the presence. That's deeper than when I meditate. It's deeper than when I pray, as deep as that might be. But this was the deepest feeling. And I thought, yeah, there might not be words for God, but there is a feeling for God. And when we get to that place, I had tears just streaming down my cheeks, and it was such a beautiful experience. And I've had other people tell me that sometimes in meditation, that's happened to them. And they'll give me a phone call and say, you'll never guess what happened to me. And it's never happened before, and sometimes never happened since. But when we let go of absolutely everything, we begin to transcend, and God appears inside us, outside us, everywhere. We're just filled with this presence. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about, you probably all have this memorized by heart, but Rumi's quote, out there beyond the idea of what's right and the idea of what's wrong is a field, and I'll meet you there. And when our souls lie down in the grass, the world is too full for words. And that, to me, describes that feeling, that being. And this past week, I was thinking, what we need to do is get rid of that, what I call the pink nightie God. It's just a silly old expression. But the old man in the pink nightie who sits on a cloud and judges us, and who will give us things when we pray, maybe, if we've been very good, will punish us if we haven't. And, we gave that up a long time ago when we discovered this teaching. But it sometimes comes back. And there are people who still live in that space. And I thought, no wonder they've stopped going to church. No wonder they've become atheists. Because, how can you believe in something like that? And it's something where, I think sometimes we might have one foot still in the old way and one foot here just in case. We need a little bit of insurance just in case, because what happens if we're wrong and all of a sudden, we come to Jesus and he's saying you weren't a very good person, or whatever the story is. And so I thought, we really need to be mindful that what we choose, we create. As long as we're holding passion for that, as long as we believe in it, as long as it's part of our conscious thinking, and we're not slipping back saying, oh, well, I don't know if that's true. And of course, there's the issue that even knowing this, sometimes we step aside from it. Life is good, everything's going along in a lovely way, and it isn't until something starts to go badly for us, or what we consider to be badly, that we think, oh, I better pray, or I better meditate. I've got to get back to this. I'm fond of saying, why pray when you can worry? Which is what a lot of us tend to do when we get into places where we have issues going on in our lives. And the thing is that we always have a choice. Every moment we have a choice. And so it's sort of like going to an ice cream parlor. And you go in and there are 30 kinds of ice cream, and you've maybe only eaten vanilla or strawberry or chocolate. And that's what you always order. And the person behind the counter says, what would you like? And you're looking at all of these things, you're looking at the typical ones that you order, and you're looking at rum and raisin and pineapple and mango and garlic and, all of the different kinds of ice cream that there are now. And you're just kind of confused. And so he says, the person behind the counter, male or female, says, you can taste them. Tell me which ones you'd like to taste. And so, you go along and you sample little bits with the little wooden sticks that they give you, and then you decide what you're going to have. And that's really the way it is with our faith. We think about it. What am I going to do? We sample it. I'll go here, I'll go there, I'll try it out. And then we choose. And we choose what our hearts tell us is right. Our brains, they will lie to us all the time, unless we're really, really consciously thinking. But our hearts will never lie. What comes from our hearts is the truth. And I remember saying to a dear friend, a minister, a few weeks ago, my gut tells me. And she said to me, oh, no, the gut is fear. She said, the heart is truth. And I said, I never even thought about that before. And I thought, what a gift that was. And I saw her again a few days later, and I said, my heart is saying no as well. And she said, then that's the truth. And so we need to get clear about these kinds of world. How could a loving God give a child terrible illness? And, they're things that we've probably all thought about from time to time. But the thing is that God doesn't give it to us. We create it. We create it with our thoughts. And I'm always saying to my people, and I say again, to you today, if you're thinking about the war in the Ukraine, for example. And I happen to be a news junkie. I was a journalist once, and, it's a lifelong habit. So I know what's going on in the world. And when I'm praying for the Ukraine, I pray that there's peace in the Ukraine. When I'm praying about the leadership in Russia, I never name him. I just say thank you for democracy and freedom for the Russian people. For anything like that, finding a way not to use a name, not to use the name of the former president of the United States, and sorry for a political comment, but just to say that, that democracy and love is alive and well and overtakes the people, blesses their government, blesses ours, blesses all of those in our lives. Instead of naming names, because what I'm doing then is I'm focusing upon that person. That I couldn't climb into his lap and be nurtured and loved. It was really hard for me to give that up. And then as I started teaching, I found that the most difficult thing for the classes. The thing is that we are all, as I said, we're all expressions of God. And we all have that power within us. And whatever it is that we're focused upon, really focused upon, we are starting to create. And if you have read books of quantum physics or anything about it, and I'm not going to get into that today because that takes way too long, but then you begin to understand that we live in a time when science and religion go hand in hand, where quantum physics proves what it is that we teach. It proves that, if I think that, if I think that I'm going to have a brand new car, then, and I keep focusing upon that, but I don't look out the window into the driveway and say, oh, it didn't appear last night, then I'm canceling the thought. So it's a matter of it being of it going on all the time. One of the women in my congregation said they needed a new car, and they didn't have a lot of money. And every time she got into her old beater, she would sit there and she would put her hands over the dash like this and say, thank you for my new Tesla. I love it. And she would name all the things that she loved about it. And she was in my class, and she was telling me about it. And a couple of weeks later, she said, I went to Vancouver to visit my sister, and she and her husband have a lot of money, and they have a Tesla, the one where the doors, lift up at the sides and so on. And she said, I had a ride in one. And I said, well, that's a beginning. And then a couple of weeks later, she came in and she said, I have a new electric car. She said, it's not a Tesla, but it's a wonderful car. But she never once looked at the old beater and said, oh, I'm still driving this thing. It's a matter of focus on what it is that you want. And then surrender it. But if you find a negative thought coming back, just shift it, And I found that lately, in the last few years, I don't even really have to think about things, but I'll see something and appreciate it. I mean, gratitude is the greatest thing that we can use. And I'll think about it. And I remember a couple of years ago, I was driving down the highway, and there were all these brand new cars going by. And I thought, oh, they're really so beautiful. But I wasn't longing for one. I had no notion of buying one. And my car was pretty old that I was driving. And I had a call on my birthday from a dear friend in Indianapolis. And he said, it's your birthday. And he said, I want you to go out and pick out a car. He said, any car within reason, any car that you want. And I was just in shock. And he said, tell me what it is, and I'll look after things for you. And he's a very dear friend. We've been friends for a long, long time. But the last thing I would have expected, except I had just been admiring these cars. And this happened. And so what we need to understand is that we are the ones who are doing the creating, and we're using the power, the God within, to make that creation happen. And so it's important that we live in gratitude. It's important that we live in love. There's a wonderful minister named Deborah Johnson, and she wrote a book called The Sacred Yes, which is one of my all-time favorite books. And she, there's a section in it where she said, we need to fall in love with God. and take God as a lover. And I thought, gosh, that's strange. And then as I read on, she said, remember when you first fell in love? You know, remember that feeling, that exuberation, you know, you're walking around grinning from ear to ear, and you're so happy. And the first thing this was back in the day, the first thing you want to do is, is phone this person and tell them everything that happened, you know, just in the last few hours. Listen to what happened, and this is what I'm going to do this afternoon. And I'm so grateful for all of these things, and I'm so grateful for you. And I can't wait to see you, and I can't wait to talk to you. Can't wait to spend time with you. And now people probably text one another a dozen times a day, but you know, you would probably phone one another several times a day just to catch up with things, and you couldn't wait to run into that person's arms at the end of the day and to share your day with them. That's what she's talking about when she says fall in love with God. Take God as your lover. When something wonderful happens, go to God. Say thank you. When you want to share something, tell God all about it. You become a walking prayer. And that's where life begins to really change. It's in that space where we transcend, in that space where God appears and where we feel that presence within all the time. Yes, sometimes we slip up, but immediately we can correct our course and go back to that and know that everything is possible because God is here. And so it is.
Thank you, Carrie. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Farther than lands you have ever imagined, deeper than even the oceans of blue. An open horizon is waiting like morning. Awaken the dreamer who's living in you. So now go with the wind at your back and the sun on your face, with a song in your heart and the promise of grace. Go in peace and in truth, and let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God. Stronger than will in the soul of a fighter, higher than hope in the heart of a child. There is a longing, a yearning inside us, reaching for heaven, and it won't be denied. If you go with the wind at your back and the sun on your face, with a song in your heart and the promise of grace, go in peace and in truth, and let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God. Farther than lands you have ever imagined, deeper than even the oceans of blue. An open horizon, it's waiting like morning. Awaken the dreamer who's living in you. So now go with the wind at your back and the sun on your face, with a song in your heart and the promise of grace. Go in peace and in truth, and let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God. Go with God. Go with God. Can you sing that with me? Go with God. Go with God. Go with God. With the sun on your face. Go with God. And a song in your heart. Go with God. Let love lead your way. Go with God. Let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God.
Thank you, Carrie, for a very inspiring talk. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your gifts with us. And let's also give it up one more time for Beverly Elliott and Bill Costin. We are so grateful and blessed with you. So if you're watching online, come on out and join us next Sunday in person. We'd love to see you and meet you and welcome you to Vancouver's Home for Progressive Spiritual Development. So now, dear friends, just to say, we are supported by your freely given love offerings. It's you who makes what we do and our amazing new church project possible. So please give generously today, and please know your giving is strengthening this spiritual community in many, many ways. Thank you for your kind support. Your gifts really are love in action. And so now, let us together say our offering affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. If you're here in person, please drop off your donation with the ushers as you exit the sanctuary. And to donate online, simply click on the donate link in your chat window, which will allow you to give via all major credit cards. And you can also give via e-transfer, which can be addressed to donations@unityofvancouver.org. And once again, if you're on Zoom or YouTube, you'll find a donate link in your chat window. Now, while we're making our donations, let's enjoy a short instrumental from Bill. So we've been having a great turnout for our new metaphysical Bible interpretation class. This Tuesday evening class with Fillmore expert Reverend Sandra Campbell has been lifting people in ways they did not expect. To join us for the final class, which will be a great session on its own, just drop in this Tuesday evening on Zoom from 6:30 to 8 p.m. This class is amazing. It really is. And you will learn things you never thought about before in a new way. Sandra is amazing at using the metaphysical Bible to interpret scripture and so forth. And it is truly uplifting. All you have to do to join this class is access your weekly email or visit unityofvancouver.org and click the Zoom link. And a reminder that this Tuesday, July 4th, is the last class. Our Course in Miracles study groups could easily be called a Course in Transcendence. If you're ready to transform and transcend, check a class out. Study groups meet on Tuesdays downstairs from 12:30 to 2:30, and on Zoom Thursdays from 7 to 9. And finally, join us next Sunday when our teacher will be Unity Minister Rona Segura, live in the center. And this talk will also be on Zoom and YouTube for those who can't make it. But we sure hope you come out and meet Rona. She's a lovely soul. Today's affirmative prayer chaplains are Jeannie Bell Irving, Raymond Lancaster, myself, and Len Satoff on Zoom. Could they please stand up, Jeannie and Raymond, so you can see them? Thank you. To have a confidential prayer with one of our prayer chaplains, all you have to do is come up to the front here after all the music is finished. They'll be sitting or standing at the front, and they would love to support you in prayer. And if you're watching on Zoom or on YouTube, I'll show you how you too can participate in just a few minutes. Please join us downstairs after service for coffee, tea, and cookies, and friendly conversation. If you're here for the first time, we'll do our best to make you feel welcome, because you really are. And now, as we bring this part of our prayer service to a close, let us say our prayer for protection. All together. The light of God surrounds us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Now, please stand and join us in singing the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
So those of you on YouTube who'd like to join a breakout group and discuss today's message, click the Zoom link in your chat window. If not, we send our love. Have a blessed week.